Welcome to the M.E.L series brought to you by the Learning Trust. This is the first episode in the 6-part series and offers a short recollection of key information that was covered in the M.E.L 101 session. The 3-hour training covered a lot of information, too much to include in this short video. So the content covered here will include an overview of the M.E.L cycle, the M.E.L framework, and how to make use of it in your own organization. M.E.L is guided by a cycle which consists of 4 key phases, namely planning, monitoring, evaluation, and using the findings to learn and improve. Let's start off with understanding the key concepts and definitions of M.E.L. Monitoring is a systematic collection of data for selected indicators to demonstrate progress, results, and the use of allocated funds. An example of monitoring is tracking learner attendance using a register. Evaluation is a systematic and objective assessment of a program, its design, implementation, and results. An example of evaluation is an end-of-year academic assessment or a parent survey regarding learner behavioral change. Learning is the systematic use of data to inform decision-making. An example of learning is to include monitoring and evaluation data in your end-of-year strategic planning conversations. Before we move on to the M.E.L framework, let's look at other key definitions that are important for understanding our work in M.E.L. Let's start with results. A result is a change that can be measured. Let's say the result we want to achieve is 100 kilograms of tomatoes have been sold at the expected price. Next is inputs. An input is financial, human, and material resources needed to initiate the desired change. In this example, this would be seeds, soil, plot, gardening knowledge, or the gardener or farmer. Next, we have activities. Activities are actions taken to produce outputs. This would mean planting the seeds at the correct depth and spacing, watering, and fertilizing the soil. Then there's outputs. These are direct products from a group of inputs. Here, tomatoes are watered and fertilized each week until the tomatoes grow. Following outputs are outcomes. Outcomes are changes that occur once outputs are achieved. In this case, it would be 100 kilograms of tomatoes are harvested and become a cash crop for the market. Lastly, we would need to determine what indicators signal the achievement of this goal. Indicators should usually be unbiased, neutral, and ideally not include any targets. Change should be captured in the result statement itself. If the result is that 100 kilograms of tomatoes are sold at the expected price, our indicators that we will achieve this result could be seeds for at least 100 kilograms germinate and are planted out. The kilogram of tomatoes that are harvested are equal to or greater than 100 kilograms. Market price per kg tomatoes is equal to or greater than the expected price, and at least 2 buyers are identified. Now let's look at the M.E.L framework with practical examples from the after-school space. The M.E.L framework is useful for many reasons. It ensures systematic planning on what data to collect, as well as when and how often to collect and analyze it for informed decision-making. Let's put this into practice with an after-school example. First, we start off with the result we want to see. An example we use here is to enable grade 1 to 3 learners from the local community to read for meaning by grade 4. To achieve the result, we will need inputs of books, literacy coaches, reading venue, and possibly a curriculum. The activities would be reading clubs or book clubs, implementing the WordWorks methodology. Outputs would be 100 learners in grade 1 to 3 attend WordWorks sessions twice a week and a reading or book club once a week. The outcomes would be improved reading levels, improved word recognition, and increased hours of individual or home learning. By the end of this, the first column of your M.E.L framework, highlighted here in green, would be populated. We can use the M.E.L framework as a tool to assess whether we are likely to achieve our results. If, for instance, we did not have any books, we would not be able to achieve our results. Or if we notice in the middle of the year that there was no increase in individual reading hours, it is unlikely that we will achieve our desired result. There are typically 10 key steps to develop a fully operational M.E.L framework. The first 6 steps focus on planning, and the last 4 steps focus on execution. In this presentation, we will focus on the first 2 steps of the M.E.L framework. Follow along closely and think about how this relates to the work in your own organization. Step 1. Defining results. Result statements must be clear of the intended change. They are generally written in a directional verb in the past tense, and directions can either be positive or negative. Each statement should include what change you want to see. Example, enhance economic empowerment. For whom the change is intended. Example, enhance economic empowerment for female-headed households. Where is the change expected to happen? Example, enhance economic empowerment for female-headed households in the Makanda community. Here are some result statement examples. Improved learner educational outcomes in low-resource communities. Strengthened M.E.L capacity of after-school programs in the Western Cape. Reduced learner dropout in South Africa. Take a moment to pause the video and think of result statements for your own program. Step 2. Setting indicators. There are key considerations you have to make when setting indicators. Developing performance indicators is not an isolated process. They need revisiting on an annual basis. Think about what methodologies might be appropriate for collecting the information. For instance, if you had an indicator of percentage of learners who study at home for 2 hours per week, you might want to collect this information in a learner survey. This is subjective, and so you might want to use a parent survey to verify this information. These surveys are your methodology. Avoid overly complex indicators that require a complex methodology. Indicators must be able to capture different sensitivities. Example, sex, age, racial group, grade, etc. Balance should be between what we need to know and what we want to know. At output level, one indicator can be sufficient. For instance, you might want to know number of learners who have a reading pace of 150 words per minute. But if your result is to enable learners from grades 1 to 3 to read for meaning by grade 4, you don't need to know the reading pace. It would be more beneficial to know the expected grade level and the number of learners who meet that level. Keep it simple and try to have one indicator per output if possible. It is important that indicators are as specific as possible. This will make the collection of data simpler and you'll be able to use it more efficiently in your decision making. For instance, determine what you're measuring. The indicator number of female students enrolled in primary school each term is clearer than school enrollment. Here are some further considerations. Add quantity if you're defining a quantitative indicator. Example, number of students enrolled. Add quality for specifics. Example, number of students enrolled in primary school. Add time. Example, number of students enrolled in primary school each term. Add disaggregation or category. Example, number of female students enrolled in primary school each term. It is also useful to distinguish between output indicators and outcome indicators. An output or activity indicator is one you can plan for in your budget. An example is number of volunteer tutors on the program. Whereas an outcome or goal indicator demonstrates what process has been completed. An example, number of STEM-related or focused subjects supported by the program. Outcome or goal indicators also measure if change is happening and often use the unit of percentage, average, or median. An example is the percentage of change in learner retention. These indicators would be populated in the second column of your M.E.L framework, highlighted here in green. Spend some time crafting your result statement and defining the indicators before moving on to the data collection tools. We'll cover that in the next episode. Until next time!